It's Friday evening, we're coming to you live from the Open in Portrush, and I'm joined by my colleagues Brian Keogh and Conor McKeon. Gentlemen, start your anecdotes. We signed off last night. Rory had played 8 holes, it was 10 past 6 in the evening. Rory had played 8 holes and he was 2 under par. At 9 o'clock when he walked off the golf course, he finished at 1 under. He was out at 10 this morning and played the front 9 with a game described by our colleague Nathan Murphy as everywhere from hanging on for dear life to crushing the field. Conor, you watched that front 9. I followed him on the back. And Brian, you watched it all and listened to him after he finished. Conor, let's start with you. Front 9 and Rory.
Yeah, he was just all over the place off the tee. I think at one stage, over the 2 days to that point, he hit 3 of 17 fairways or something, which is just not like once you go off the fairway here, you're doing. It's almost luck to get it.
Talk about the second. So he starts great.
Yeah.
Starts with a birdie. Then the second he hits it so far, just inside the out of bounds.
Yeah. So I was over the far side of the fairway, but we were watching him. So it's nearly on the out of bounds on the right. He tried to play a big draw, left it, hung it out right, and then he had to take a drop from unplayable
into fescue rough.
Yeah, but then when he took the drop,
he couldn't see it.
He was almost in another run,
right?
Which was like a crazy situation. And I was expecting the swing that he made, the ball to maybe trickle out, and you're hoping that he gets a good lie. He actually managed to advance it right up there.
Yeah.
He got a brilliant up and down for 5, and it's one of the best pars I think any player will make here this week.
Yeah.
And then on the third, he left himself in a horrible stance. He left the ball right beside the bunker.
Yeah.
And he almost holed the shot with a very improvised grip on his wedge, almost hitting himself in the stomach because he was standing over it. He made bogey, and then on the next hole, which, the fourth, okay, these are pro golfers, but that's like index 1 on this golf course. It's the hardest one out there. And it was child's play. It was child's play. Once he hit the fairway,
yeah.
He put the thing to within 6 feet and got the putt. So it goes to show you when he hits fairways. And the thing that I'd be encouraged by, not to jump too far ahead, but okay, he's going to start tomorrow a fair bit back. But the last, I'd say 6 or 7 holes, I don't have the stats to hand, but he hit more fairways in the last 6-7 holes today than he did in the previous 24 holes.
Yeah, definitely. I watched him follow the back 9, definitely seemed a lot happier, and wasn't too despondent, Brian, when he came off the course.
No, he was in pretty good form. He thought he could have gotten a bit more out of the round. I mean, I think actually, he hit 7 fairways altogether today, half the fairways. So it was an awful lot better off the tee. And when he did hit it well off the tee, he hit it 380 yards. It was unbelievable. There was a few times where he was a bit too close to the green, but he said, I probably could have got a bit more out of that round, got a bit closer to the leaders, because it was breezy enough, but there were a lot of scores out there this morning, and I think, looking at the way the leaderboard is going, he might regret not maybe putting the foot down a bit more.
What's your take on the draw? Is morning better or afternoon better? Who got the better side of the draw?
Well, it looked, I think, that morning was going to get the better side of the draw, because I went out to watch Shane then at 10 past 3, and by the time he was hitting his shot in, that there was this really angry looking dark cloud that came in. It was almost kind of a biblical, and lo, the heavens did open, but it only really held them up, as in, by held them up I mean it only really affected them for about 15 minutes. And after that, sometimes with those squalls, it takes the kind of atmosphere away.
Yeah. And
it was very benign then.
Yeah.
It was very benign. The greens were soft because it rained and there was no wind.
Yes.
So I think they probably endured a small bit of pain, but my read of it now is that the late starters will end up, the scoring average will be better.
Yeah,
I think, because the cut is going out the longer this tournament.
That was my sense.
Yeah, the wind has definitely dropped a little bit for the afternoon starters, but they got it pretty tough yesterday afternoon. So I think Rory got a pretty good draw.
Now we're talking about the afternoon starters, and obviously play is still ongoing. As we sit here, our leaders are Matt Fitzpatrick on 8 under, Brian Harman at 8 under, Hao Tong Lee at 8 under. Ominously, Scottie Scheffler have now got the 7 under. Then we have a group of 3 on 5 under. Rasmus Højgaard, Tyrrell Hatton and Bob McIntyre has been playing very well. I mean, how's Rory feeling now? He's sitting at home, he's watching this, he's sitting back at his hotel and he's watching this. How's he feeling now? I guess he's looking at Scheffler and thinking, oh Jesus.
We're all watching Scheffler and thinking, oh Jesus. He's on such an even keel out there. Shane said it in his press conference yesterday that just playing with him, it's remarkable that even when it looks like he hits a bad shot, the ball doesn't end up in a bad position. He is freakishly good, obviously, but he just has this innate ability to gather himself and compose himself and hit the right shot at the right time. And like, if you're to take those four, just Patrick, Harman, Hao Tong Lee and Scottie, I mean, I'm taking Scottie, you can have the other three.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to see, Scottie Scheffler 10 or 11 under par tonight. I mean, giving Scottie Scheffler 8 shots over 2 rounds, I know in a links course and anything can happen, but it's not something you want to see. I think Rory, he did say that, he couldn't really get into a flow, of making a run of birdies, as those first 6 holes, it was par, birdie, bogey, birdie, it was stop start, and he could never, because he says he finds the course intimidating off the tee.
Yeah.
He has a miss in him. I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, yeah, when he hits it well, it's fantastic to watch, but he looks like a man it looks like there's an accident waiting to happen almost sometimes, because there's so much danger out there, and he's hit quite a few big wides that this is the type of course. When we saw Justin Rose earlier today, triple bogey out of nowhere, just one bad shot. It's so easy to make a big error.
I did think Rory got into a bit of a better, I won't say flow, because he said that it was hard to get into, but he did get into slightly better rhythm. His round today was 5 hours 15 minutes. I think that's about 45 minutes quicker than yesterday. Yeah. And tomorrow they'll be presumably going out in 2 balls.
Sure.
And if you go back to the Masters, like Saturday was when he really caught fire. The pace of play was really, you could tell that he was even walking quicker to his ball because he knew he wasn't going to be staying over it. So I just think, like, obviously tomorrow is a very big day for everybody there, but I think tomorrow will be the day that best suits Rory. Okay. I think he seems to have found something with his driver, even if it's not perfect. And I think the conditions, whatever about the weather, I think the pace of play will suit him a bit better.
Yeah, he said he has to pull all elements of his game together. He hasn't pulled it all together yet. He says he's going to need it all firing, all elements of the game firing, if he's going to win this. And it's not all firing yet, so that's what he's going to need. He's going to need everything.
We're only halfway, so there's a chance. Now, as we sit here, Shane is out there, and there's a lot of golf to be played, but there's a sense that he's kind of stuck in neutral. He's edging forward, but only edging.
It's strange, like he just looked so comfortable yesterday, and it's funny to see him, like he's playing there with Colin Morikawa and Scottie Scheffler, and he's kind of like, he's Lord of the Manor, like, this is kind of his home ground now, and I won't say he's walking around like he owns the place, because that's a kind of pejorative term, but if you know what I mean, he just looks very, very comfortable there. I'm surprised that maybe he's not playing better, particularly with those conditions out there, because like it's almost like he's having one bad shot on every hole, and that's kind of kiboshing him. You couldn't say that there's any one thing that's getting on top of him, because he was very upbeat yesterday after his round. He only shot 1 under, but he knew that he got a bad dose of weather halfway through. When they got to the hardest holes in the course, really, they also had the hardest conditions. So he was pretty happy with his lot yesterday. But as we sit here now, like he's a fair bit back, and Scottie in his group is making moves, and unless he picks up a couple of shots on the way in, I don't see him being in the same kind of upbeat mood when it's over.
But it's possible he might.
Yeah.
I go back to what Padraig was saying in the build up to this about the mental test of this golf course. So, and Rory referred to it today as well. So there's tough holes out there where you got to hang on, and then there's easy holes where you have to pick one up. And Shane's playing the tough holes quite well, and when it comes to some of the easier holes like the 5th or some of the par 5s, when he doesn't pick up a birdie, you feel like you're losing ground, you're losing money in the casino. So, that's the battle that they have, just to not get down on yourself, to keep going and not make a mistake, and take advantage of those easier holes, which is what Brian Harman managed to do, and Hao Tong Lee managed to do.
Now,
Scottie Scheffler.
Sorry, Brian, as I said a number of times this week, don't confuse me with anyone who knows anything about golf. I spent the afternoon just listening to what people who do know about golf say. Here's one of the things that really tickled me. Isn't it a great testament to links golf that Brian DeChambeau is 8 over par? Where's your science now? And let's just say he shot 6 under for the round, and he will play the weekend after finishing at 1 under.
That's one of the most remarkable rounds that we've seen so far today, because yesterday it was like it almost played up to the expectation that DeChambeau and his refusal to do anything other than go full bore with his swing. He won't craft a shot around here, and he was peppering pins there. He almost holed a couple of his approach shots. It was an exceptional round of golf, and I don't think he's going to win it, but okay, if the wind kicks up, it's gonna take his ability to pepper pins out of it like it would with anybody else. But I did not see after yesterday. I thought he was going to go further and further back. So
fair play to him.
We'll swallow that one.
We'll swallow that one. I wouldn't like to be the fella who said that. Now you'd feel like a right tone, wouldn't you? So the other one that tickled me was Brian Harman. I mean, the amount of groaning out there among spectators about Brian Harman or the possibility that he might win a second Open was extraordinary. So much so that I actually asked someone, I said, what's wrong with Brian Harman? He kills harmless animals. And this is a reference to him being a hunter.
The butcher of High Lake.
The butcher of High Lake. He said at High Lake after, he was leading by 5, I think, after the second round, and he gave a press conference and he was asked about other things that he does, and he spoke about hunting. And one of the things that he mentioned was that after he missed the cut at Augusta, he killed a turkey and a pig. So, I mean, you do what you have to do to relax. Some people have a bite to eat and a lie down. But, no, it's funny because since he won 2 years ago, at different majors, the only time I can remember his name being mentioned was people saying, well, who could be the Brian Harman? And it turns out that it's going to be Brian Harman.
Yeah, I don't know if you said it. Has he made a cut since High Lake? Well, he definitely has, obviously, but there's a sense that he kind of drifts along or hasn't done very much. In fact, someone else said that he is the worst major. It was the worst major. That major that he won in High Lake was the worst major since Jimmy Walker won the PGA at Baltusrol.
Yeah. Gary Woodland as well, maybe that wasn't quite as...
What do you think, Brian?
Beach. Yeah, I don't know. I actually kind of like Brian Harman the way he goes about his business because he's not, the typical PGA Tour player. Hits the ball, miles in the air, massive speed and all the rest. He can compete. He comes here and he knows he can compete because it requires imagination. You've got different shots to play. He's a great putter. I just like him. He's
you like him. You like him, Brian. You like him, Brian. Let me tell you why you like him. Because you're a kind person. In fact, you might be the kindest person I know. I'm going to stick with something else I heard. I'd sooner stick a toothpick in my eye than watch Brian Harman play golf. So take that.
The only thing I would say about Brian Harman is, so in as much as I would have thought that it's a great testament to links that somebody like DeChambeau would struggle down here, I think it's a great testament to a links that somebody like Brian Harman can thrive around here.
Yeah.
Because he does have imagination, he does have a great short game, and he does need enormous distance off the tee. And if there's one thing that, not to get too existential about it, but if there's one thing that golf has an issue with, it's that people are dominating the game with their distance off the tee. And I think ultimately it's a good thing to see players rewarded who don't have that.
Sure. Now, yesterday morning, as I said, we spoke about this last night, I grew up at 5 to watch Padraig hit the opening tee shot because he deserves it. And I've just walked in off the golf course to watch him hit the last shot he's going to play at this Open, again because he deserves it. And I was reminded watching him on the 18th green of when Rory almost won in St Andrews a couple of years ago, and when Padraig missed the cut there as well. And if you'd watched them and you didn't actually know what was going on, if you'd watched them tonight on the 18th green and you didn't know where he was in the tournament, what was going to say, well, he's in contention here, he's a great chance to win this tournament. He had a 30-foot putt, he was 9 over par, he had a 30-foot putt for birdie, okay? He had it 6 feet past, right? He got down on one knee and he watched from behind. He walked around the other side, watched from the side. He got behind the ball and down on the knee again and studying it for good 30, 45 seconds, right? And this is a 6-footer to save par to stop him going to 10 over. I mean, just extraordinary. Like his application to his craft, his professionalism is just, it blows my mind every time I see it.
Yeah, you're totally right. I was watching them play the last hole and you're waiting for the smile, and the smile only came after he told the final putt. It was like, when this round is over, I'll do the smile and I'll give the wave. I'd say part of it is habit too, once you tee off in the first, you're in all your processes until you're finished up with the 18. But that struck me as well, the exact same thing. They showed it, not live, but they showed it like an hour later of the end of Harrington's round, and I was looking at it going, is this from, I thought it was from a different Open, or it was from, there was no sense that he wasn't waving to the galleries on the way down 18.
Yeah. Brian, you spoke to him.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really want to bother Padraig Harrington, and the girl was saying, do you need Padraig? And we said, actually, can I have a word with Padraig? He came out and he didn't stand up in front of the microphone. He sat down on the step and we had a little sort of a bit of a chat, and I said, you know, you made a triple bogey at the third hole, you had a putt from off the ground, caught a slow ball, went down the thing, and the last thing he needed basically to make the cut, but what he did make the point was, you know, yes, he'll remember the birdie on the first, you know, the way he played the first hole. What he took from it was that he hit under pressure when he was really nervous. He hit 2 really great shots, and it was nearly the only putt he holed all week.
Right.
And he said, and I thought that was coming up short, and went in. Everything else came up short, so he's got a major.
On his
next
mood,
week.
Brian, how
He
was?
was-
I thought he was okay. I expected he would be despondent.
No, he wasn't despondent because he felt his game was okay. And he didn't feel he put it badly, even though he holed nothing. He just never got the pace of the greens from the get-go.
Right.
And yeah. So
What do you think, Conor? I mean, did that hurt him ultimately, getting that being the ceremonial starter, not ceremonial, but hitting the first tee shot? You know,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I think there's an advantage. Like in a weird way, there's an advantage to being forced out because you're not waiting anywhere on the way around. And like all modern sports people will tell you that in every situation there's an opportunity to be had. You know what I mean? So even if you have to get up early in the morning, well, you're forced out, so there's nobody ahead of you, so you can play at your own pace of play.
Yeah.
You know, if it starts raining, well, you convince yourself that you're better in the rain than the average player in the field is in the rain. So, no, I'm not sure whether the ceremonial thing would have got into his head. I think, like you said, like he's too professional. He's too devoted to his craft, and once he's on the golf course, he becomes like a competitive animal anyway.
right. Well, as we sit here, there are a few certainties. The only certainties we have really are Padraig is going home, Darren Clark is going home, Tom McKeon.
73 going home. You know,
Yeah.
he took a bit of, you know, I suppose solace from the fact that, you know, he hit 2 decent tee shots off the first with all that pressure, all that crowd around him. And he said the most annoying thing is it's the first cut he's missed in a major, and it's the best he felt in play.
Right.
He just went over the green at the 8th and made a double bogey today, and went over a few greens. So a little bit of learning there for him today with experience in, you know, how to play to tight pins on firm courses like that.
Okay, well, as we speak, the course is softening because there's rain pelting off the roof here, and that's probably the only certainty for the weekend that there's going to be more of it. Anyway, with a bit of luck, we'll be here tomorrow night, and we look forward to you joining us.